Zoe, nice to meet you. Magic. Magic man.
Channing Tatum is an American actor, producer, and one of the main sex symbols of Hollywood. He turned his story of working as a stripper into a successful franchise that went beyond the cinema screen. And now we will tell you more about his life in this video. Channing Tatum, from stripper to Hollywood star. Channing Tatum was born on April 26, 1980, in the American city of Coleman, Alabama. His mother Kay worked for an airline, and his father Glenn Tatum was a construction worker. But after a spinal injury, he became a sales manager. Some sources claim that Channing has a half-brother, Christopher, but this information is not supported by any facts. But enough is known about Paige, the older sister. She is very close to her brother and owns an online store that sells health products. The Tatum family has lived in the South of America for generations, since at least the 1700s, and has English, Irish, Scottish, German, Welsh, and French roots. It is also rumored that Channing has Native American roots, although there is no proof of this. When Channing was 6 years old, the family moved to the suburbs of Pascagoula, a city in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast. There, the boy spent his time exploring swamps and once even participated in capturing an alligator. Chan grew up an active and somewhat restless child, so his parents decided to send him to various sports clubs, athletics, baseball, and kung fu. After moving to Tampa, Florida at the age of 10, the boy enrolled first in Gaither High School and then in a private Catholic school where he began playing football. His favorite subject at school was history, but his overall academic performance suffered due to being diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. The actor even now admits that he reads scripts 5 times slower than his colleagues, but he can remember everything. In high school, Tatum swallowed a handful of pills every day, which increased concentration, but according to Channing himself, they turned him into a zombie and caused depression. Although the young man was not going to become a professional athlete, being successful in football allowed him to receive a full sports scholarship to study at Glenville State College in West Virginia after graduating from school in 1998. However, Tatum did not study at college for long. After the first year, he returned home and started trying to find himself, doing various jobs. He managed to work at a construction site, in a department store, and a pet store. Until the age of 19, he got cast in a men's strip club. There he began performing under the pseudonym Chan Crawford and received an average of $50 to $75 per night, and sometimes managed to earn $150. One day when performing at a club, he noticed a sister in a crowd of girls. Channing admits that this situation was among the top 10 most embarrassing things that happened to him in his entire life. The actor is not ashamed of his past, but notes that, fortunately, he was ambitious enough not to get bogged down. At that time, he often engaged in drinking, and at times cocaine, but Tatum managed to avoid any addictions. After a while, Channing stopped dancing and moved to Miami, where one day a strange-looking man approached him on the street and said that a handsome guy like him should be a model. This man was not a modeling agent, but a couple of days later, Tatum himself went to a modeling agency in search of offers. In 2000, he starred in Ricky Martin's She Bangs music video and received $400 for the work. Soon the young man began to participate in fashion shows and work with brands such as Armani, Dolce & Gabbana, The Gap, and Abercrombie & Fitch. His modeling career developed very rapidly. In 2001, his name was already on the list in a fashion magazine called 50 Most Beautiful Faces. In 2002, he signed a contract with the modeling agency Page 305 in Miami, worked with agencies in New York and Milan, starred in TV commercials for Mountain Dew and Pepsi, and after a while, his face adorned the covers of Citizen K and Vogue. Channing Tatum made his acting debut in 2004 on an episode of the popular TV series CSI Miami. In January 2005, the aspiring actor played in a biographical drama about a basketball coach, Coach Carter. Before filming, Channing hadn't played basketball, so he trained individually to reach the level the other actors played at. In the same year, the crime drama Havoc and the action movie Supercross, with Tatum's participation, were released. And the following year, the comedies She's the Man. There, the actor played a soccer player, but since the sport was unfamiliar to Chan, he needed a stuntman in some scenes.
Let's get up. I want to try something where I'm gonna act like a girl, and you're gonna talk to me, okay?
Ew, do I have to?
Yes. Because I'm Viola. Duke, nice to meet you.
Okay, that was creepy. You really just sounded like a girl just then.
On the set, a romantic relationship began between Channing and the lead actress, Amanda Bynes, but it did not last long. Interestingly, during this period, Tatum auditioned for a role in the movie The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, but he got so excited at the auditions that he forgot his lines. But he passed the audition for the musical comedy drama Step Up.
No, I do realize how important this is, and that's exactly why I'm here. You said if I want something, I gotta fight for it, right? Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm here and I'm fighting for something that's real for the first time in my life.
At first, Channing was uncomfortable surrounded by professional dancers, but the producers enthusiastically called him one of the best self-taught street dancers. On the very first weekend, the film's box office exceeded its budget. Step Up was recognized as the best drama at the Teen Choice Awards, and the main actors were awarded in the Best Dance category. This movie not only made Channing famous, but also changed his personal life. After a few days of filming, he realized that he was falling in love with his partner on the set, Jenna Dewan. Both of them had just ended a previous relationship and had no plans to start a new one at all. So they agreed to stay single and just spend time together. But 3 days later, Chan appeared on the doorstep of Jenna's hotel room at 2 in the morning after a party. Wearing only underpants, Ugg boots, and a sombrero, he admitted that he tried to ignore his feelings, but all this time he could not stop thinking about her. In September 2006, the premiere of the drama A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints took place, where Robert Downey Jr. and Shia LaBeouf became Tatum's acting partners.
You can tell him Antonio came by?
Alright,
Yeah?
Antonio, come on, he's a little kid,
You
man.
can tell him
Come
that.
on.
You can remember to tell him that for me? He couldn't eat him. I like this kid. I like this kid. I like him. Yeah, this kid's good. All right, I like this kid.
The film was shown at many film festivals, including the largest American independent film festival, Sundance, where it received a special jury prize for the ensemble cast. There is a moment of improvisation in this film. In one of the scenes, Tatum, immersed in his role, smashes a glass window in the door with a chair, and none of the actors expected it, but everyone finished the scene without showing any fear. And this take got into the final version. The following year, the actor appeared in the action movie Battle in Seattle, and in 2008, he briefly returned to the role of hip-hop dancer Tyler in Step Up 2, The Streets, and played a military man in the drama Stop Loss. Despite the positive reviews of the critics, who called the movie deep and sincere and a good cast, the film failed at the box office. The dramatic action movie Fighting was more successful, and Channing played the main role.
All I'm saying is I don't want to lose. That's all I'm saying is I don't want to lose.
I'm telling you, Sean.
Look, I know it sounds stupid to you. It's stupid. But that's what I don't want it. I don't want to do it, so I won't.
Before the start of filming, the actor trained for 5 weeks with the main stuntman and the combat scenes choreographer. Then Tatum played a minor character in the criminal blockbuster Public Enemies and played one of the main roles in the fantasy action movie G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra.
What happened to you?
I wanna do the train. What happened to you?
I jumped over it.
You could do that?
Yeah, told you to read that manual.
It's a manual?
The film grossed more than $300 million, but the critics were dissatisfied with it. They especially criticized Tatum's acting, calling him wooden, and one critic even noticed that Channing's character seemed more alive in those scenes where his movements were done by CGI than in those where he was played by the actor. In the summer of 2009, Channing and Jenna got married in Malibu. In an interview, the actor said that he proposed to his beloved on vacation in Hawaii. However, before that, to confuse Jenna, and so that she would not figure out his plans, he said that he did not believe in marriage. The girl almost burst into tears from that, and he had to urgently correct the misunderstanding. Chan organized a dinner with friends, at which he asked the main question. During their honeymoon in Bali, the newlyweds made identical tattoo inscriptions, meaning side by side. At the end of the 2000s, Channing Tatum, along with his wife and friends, founded a production company, and in 2010, it released the documentary Earth Made of Glass, dedicated to the genocide in Rwanda in 1994. In 2010, the actor played in a duet with Amanda Seyfried in the romantic drama Dear John, based on the novel by Nicholas Sparks.
And I'm trying to figure out what the right thing is to do, and I don't know what that is. I don't have any freaking idea how to get there. Because I need you to tell me. I just need you to tell me, okay? Can you just tell me, please? Can you just tell me what do you want me to do?
To better get used to the role, Tatum, who never studied to be an actor, took several acting lessons. According to Channing, it was only after this role that he really fell in love with the art of dramatic acting, and he began to put it above dancing, fighting scenes, and other ways to demonstrate his body. In 2011, Channing Tatum appeared in the films Son of No One, The Dilemma, Haywire, 10 Years, where his partner again became Jenna Dewan, as well as in the historical drama The Eagle. The latter, based on the novel of the same name, tells about the struggle of the Roman legions with the Pictish tribes in Britain. During the filming, the actor had to spend several hours in a cold river, so they brought him warm water regularly. But once the assistant forgot to add cold water to the boiling water, and as a result, Channing received serious burns, especially in the groin area. 2012 was a success for the actor. In February, the world premiere of the drama The Vow took place, where Rachel McAdams became his co-star.
I'm trying to help you! But I'm not your punching bag. We don't speak to each other like this!
The achievement was that the critics recognized Tatum's acting as surprisingly moving. In his next film, the action comedy 21 Jump Street, Tatum not only played one of the two main roles, but was also an executive producer.
Well, you have the right to remain an attorney.
Did you say that you have the right to be an attorney?
You do have the right to be an attorney if you want to.
The film's box office exceeded $200 million, and the critics praised it as a clever and fascinating satire with nostalgia for the 80s and a parody of youth cinema. Channing also started producing his next film on his own, especially since this was a story partially based on his life. In the film Magic Mike, Tatum's character works as a roofer during the day, and at night he works as a stripper and helps another young man get used to the profession.
I can walk right out that door.
Right now.
And do a fuck of a lot better than 7.5%. I'm sorry, that used to be 10.
But you don't.
By the way, only shortly before the premiere of Magic Mike, Chan confessed to his father that he worked as a stripper. Tatum Sr. was terribly upset about this because it meant that he hadn't helped his son financially enough. The budget of the film was $7 million, and all of it was Channing Tatum's and the director Steven Soderbergh's money. They also paid the studio a flat fee to distribute the film, thus keeping the profits in their hands. It worked because Magic Mike grossed $167 million at the box office, and Tatum's share was approximately $60 million before taxes. In 2013, 5 films with Channing were released: Don John, Side Effects, G.I. Joe Retaliation, This Is the End, and White House Down. In the same year, on May 31st, a daughter was born into the Tatum-Dewan family, Everly. Channing attended the birth but left the ward several times. He could not hold back tears because he couldn't alleviate his wife's suffering. After what he saw, Tatum admitted that no man could have passed the test that falls to the lot of pregnant women. The following year, 2014, the actor took part in the voice acting of the cartoons The Lego Movie and The Book of Life. The sequel 22 Jump Street grossed $331 million at the box office, and the sports drama Foxcatcher was also released. While preparing for the latter, Tatum engaged in wrestling for 6 months, and during the filming of the scene where Channing's character beats his head against the mirror, he broke his head despite the protective coating. In early 2015, Channing Tatum appeared in one of the main roles in Lana and Lily Wachowski's fantasy action movie Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, Your Majesty might want to take a few of these. Portaling can be a little rough on the royal bowels.
Oh, well, my bowels are anything but royal.
During the filming, the actor had to wear a special pad that changed the shape of his jaw, and due to this, he could not completely close his mouth and had problems with speaking. On July 1st, Magic Mike XXL was released.
Oh, is Richie gonna cry because life isn't exactly the way he wants it right now?
Oh, okay, Mr. CEO. Why don't you take your bullshit advice and give it to your fucking employees?
The second part grossed less than the first, almost $118 million, but Tatum's income was still impressive, about $30 million. Soon earnings from the franchise increased even more when the actor launched a show of the same name in Las Vegas. In December 2015, Quentin Tarantino's detective western, The Hateful Eight, was released, in which Channing sought a role for a whole month.
When it's safe, I'll kill him.
free my sister and leave you be.
He persistently wrote emails to the director and threatened to beat any actor who would be hired for this position. Of all the films with Channing's participation, this movie has collected the largest number of prestigious prizes, including the Oscar and the Golden Globe. In 2016, the actor played in an episode of the TV series Idiot Sitter and the comedy Hail Caesar, where he appeared in a dance scene. For these 6 minutes, he trained for 3 months learning tap dancing. The following year, Tatum returned to voice acting in the animated film The Lego Batman Movie, produced the TV series Comrade Detective, in which he himself watches a fictional old show about Romanian policemen of the 80s. He also produced and played a role in the crime comedy Logan Lucky, but his most successful project was the spy thriller Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
My apologies, boys. I hope there ain't no hard feelings. I was just doing my job.
The film grossed more than $400 million at the box office, and critics rated it higher than the first film in the series. In the same year, Channing appeared in an amusing image in Pink's video for the song Beautiful Trauma. The video was shot in the spirit of American ads of the 50s, but with the actor dressing up in a woman's dress and the singer turning into a dominatrix. The couple of Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan was called one of the most beautiful in Hollywood. They delighted fans with joint appearances on red carpets and participation in various shows. On one of them, for example, Jenna performed a lap dance for her husband, repeating his dance from Magic Mike XXL. But in 2017, they started appearing at social events separately, and in April 2018, they announced their breakup. According to Jenna, at some point the couple realized that they wanted different things and decided to separate. Soon Tatum and Dewan began divorce proceedings, but the lack of prenuptial agreement complicated the situation. In addition to property and capital, the ex-spouses shared custody of their daughter, trying to coordinate their work schedules. Officially, the divorce took place only in November 2019, but the court proceedings continued. As a result, Channing and Jenna agreed to spend an equal amount of time with their daughter. During this time, the actor added new projects to his filmography like cartoon Smallfoot in the Lego Movie 2, the second part, as well as several production projects. In October 2019, Channing began dating singer Jessie J. He even introduced his new lover to his daughter, but because of the constant separation, they broke up and made up several times, until they finally broke up in the fall of 2020. After the divorce, he admitted that at first he was very afraid to communicate with his daughter one-on-one, but over time he plunged into a world for which he was rewarded with love that he had never received. In 2020, Channing wrote a book called The One and Only Sparkella, which he dedicated to Everly. He jokes that during the quarantine with his 7-year-old daughter, he found his inner child, and this child turned out to be a girl. The book tells the story of a girl who loves everything sparkly but is faced with a misunderstanding of her peers. In the spring of 2021, Channing's ex-wife Jenna went to court with a demand to share the proceeds from the Magic Mike franchise, which she and Tatum created while still married. The amount of the claims has not been announced, but it is known that Dewan participated in the hiring of the main choreographer of the project. On the eve of this, it became known that a reality show called Finding Magic Mike will be launched, within which participants will not only develop male attractiveness and improve their physical fitness, but also fight their psychological fears. Tatum will be the producer of the project, and the premiere is scheduled to take place after this year on the streaming service HBO Max. In June, another streaming service, Netflix, released the animated film America, the Motion Picture, where Tatum acted as the executive producer and voiced the character of George Washington. Recently, there have been rumors about Channing's affair with actress Zoe Kravitz. They met on the set of the movie Pussy Island, a thriller that became Zoe's directorial debut, and Tatum played the main role in it. In 2022, Channing himself will also make his directorial debut in the family comedy Dog, inspired by Channing's deceased pet, Lulu. There's also the release of the adventure film The Lost City Deep planned. This is a story about a misanthropic writer of women's novels played by Sandra Bullock, who goes on a promotional tour to promote her next novel in the company of a guy from her book cover. Tatum's fortune is now estimated at $80 million. Additional income is brought to him by his brand of potato vodka, Born and Bred, which he launched in 2016. The actor hardly can be seen in ads of third-party brands, but his parody of the famous Volvo video with Van Damme has gone viral. In it, Channing, in the image of his character from the movie 21 Jump Street, showed how he smoothly pushed food carts on the set. Shortly before the wedding, Channing and Jenna bought a 2,500 square foot open plan house in Laurel Canyon, Los Angeles for $2.6 million. For almost the same amount, the couple sold it after the birth of their daughter. Then they bought a 4,800 square foot house in Beverly Hills with 6 bedrooms and bathrooms, a swimming pool, a spa, and an outdoor fireplace in the garden for $6 million. On the ground floor, there is a kitchen, a dining room, a guest room, and a large study with a fireplace. And on the ground floor, there are 2 more guest rooms with a separate entrance. This mansion went to Jenna after the divorce, and Channing rented a 5-bedroom colonial-style house in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles for $25,000 a month. There was a game room, a sports ground, a private cinema, a swimming pool, and a guest house. In May 2021, the actor paid $5.6 million for a house in the Brentwood neighborhood in Los Angeles. The country mansion with an area of about 3,200 square feet with 3 bedrooms is made in a rustic style. There is a guest house, a basketball court, and an outdoor swimming pool on site. Channing Tatum was seen in such cars as the Cadillac Escalade EXT SUV, Toyota Tacoma, and Mercedes-Benz G-Class. The actor is also an owner of the classic 1957 Chevrolet 3100. It is known that the actor has a hobby of breeding pets. For example, he had a goat named Heather who died in 2016, and now he has a new pet, the Dutch Shepherd Rook. Chan is also fond of painting and modeling and sometimes shares his works on Instagram. Write in the comments which movie with Channing Tatum is your favorite. If you like the video, leave a like and also subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything interesting.